Education is something we all experience, yet very few ever question its true purpose. From childhood, we are placed in classrooms, taught a standardized curriculum, and conditioned to follow rules. But have you ever wondered who designed this system and why? The modern education system is not a natural evolution of human knowledge. Instead, it was carefully crafted over centuries to serve specific agendas. Its origins trace back to Prussia in the early 19th century, where schools were designed to produce obedient soldiers and disciplined citizens who would follow orders without question. This system, known as the Prussian model, became the foundation for mass schooling worldwide. Later, figures like Horace Mann in the United States adopted this model, believing it would create a more structured and controlled society. But the real turning point came in the early 20th century, when industrial giants like John D. Rockefeller saw education as a tool to shape workers for their factories. Schools stopped being places of intellectual growth and became training grounds for an obedient workforce. By the mid-1900s, standardized testing, rigid grading systems, and a one-size-fits-all approach had turned education into a system that values memorization over critical thinking, obedience over creativity, and compliance over innovation. The shocking truth is that the education system isn't failing us, it's working exactly as it was designed. But who were the masterminds behind this system? What were their real motives? And most importantly, is there a way out? Welcome to the hidden truth about modern education. This is part 1, its history. While most people assume that our education system evolved naturally, it was actually designed by powerful figures with specific intentions. Many of these early education reformers were not focused on helping individuals grow intellectually, but instead aimed to create a workforce that would serve the needs of industry and government. Below is a detailed look at the key people behind the education system and their motives. The foundation of modern education can be traced back to early 19th century Prussia, modern-day Germany. After Prussia's humiliating defeat by Napoleon in 1806, its leaders realized that their soldiers and citizens lacked the discipline and obedience needed for a strong, unified nation. To solve this, King Frederick William III and philosopher Wilhelm von Humboldt developed a state-controlled schooling system designed to create loyal, obedient, and efficient citizens. This system introduced several radical ideas that are still present in modern schools today. For the first time, education became mandatory for all children, regardless of their social class. The government designed a structured curriculum that focused not just on literacy and math, but also on instilling obedience, patriotism, and respect for authority. Unlike earlier, more flexible forms of learning, where children were often taught based on their individual skills, Prussian schools introduced age-based grade levels, ensuring that every child learned the same subjects at the same pace. A key feature of this model was a strict discipline. Schools operated much like military training camps, where students were required to follow rigid schedules, obey their teachers without question, and conform to societal norms. Creativity and critical thinking were discouraged, as the goal was not to produce thinkers, but to mold disciplined workers and soldiers. The curriculum emphasized memorization and repetition over problem-solving or independent thought. The Prussian system quickly gained international attention. Governments across Europe and the United States saw its potential in creating a controlled, predictable society, and many adopted it in their own countries. In the U.S., education reformers like Horace Mann visited Prussia and were deeply impressed by its ability to shape young minds. Mann later helped implement compulsory schooling laws in America, directly inspired by the Prussian model. What began as a military-driven system for obedience and nationalism soon became the blueprint for modern public education worldwide. Today, the echoes of Prussian schooling can still be seen in the structured classrooms, standardized curriculums, and rigid discipline of schools across the globe. But was this system ever truly meant to educate or simply to control?